After spending 3 years waging war in Trap City and beyond, and after allegedly claiming the lives of 11 people, unfortunately for the Bloodhounds, in early June the now infamous day would come when Lil Jeff would lose his life while once again sliding on his most personal rivals, Trap City, and getting gunned down by an unknown person whilst chasing the man wearing yellow shorts into a house. Now, if you want the full breakdown of the death of Lil Jeff, go and check out the full documentary I made about his life. But as already mentioned in the intro, Q50 was allegedly right there with Jeff, with the surveillance video allegedly capturing him casually shooting into the car that would attempt to exit the scene just as the shooting began. That car was driven by a woman who would then seemingly contact the police after crashing her car about 2 miles drive away from the scene.
I gotta use you for this covert mission because we got a victim saying that she was shot at 6-7 in Rhodes. Her car is damaged. I'm trying to see what unit from 7 is sitting with her. She's at 6-7 in Halstead right now. I'm trying to get more information from her. They gonna take the crash because she crashed at 6-7 in Halstead, but they need a car over there to verify that she was involved in the shooting or not.
The woman would seemingly also tell police that she had witnessed the shooting and that she was willing to cooperate with them.
321, you want us to take her to 3 or public compulsion or what do you guys want us to do with her?
She said she did witness the shooting, right?
10-4, she saw people that jumped off the vehicle and she was there when it happened.
Did you want her to take her up to 3, this witness, because she did witness the shooting and she's cooperating?
I mean, if she's cooperating, then I'm assuming her car doesn't work at the moment because of the accident.
321, is that correct? Her vehicle's not working?
Alright, so if they just want to bring her back here, we can grab everything that we need and then maybe we can get her a ride home if she needs one, then that's not a problem.
Meanwhile, Q50 and the other Bloodhounds would allegedly take Jeff's body to a nearby hospital, where Q50 would allegedly be captured by the security camera in the same outfit from the drill, carrying Jeff with another man who couldn't be identified. But there was nothing to be done, and Jeff would already be dead on arrival.
Yeah, last name gonna be Harris Jeffrey, July 12, 2002.
That's the DOA?
Yeah.
The fate of the man wearing the yellow shorts, on the other hand, was seemingly unclear, even for the police, at least immediately following the shooting, as there appeared to be confusion whether there even was a second person shot or not.
If I'm not mistaken, the second person shot has nothing to do with us. We only got the one GSW that just became a 0110. Okay, do you guys know where it originated at, so like it's in the district car, or it's not for CPD? When I talked to my car that was at the hospital earlier, they said that there was another officer there, but I can confirm for you and see if they make sure that there's an actual officer there for that second GSW. Okay, Temper, I haven't gotten any more calls from the hospital, but Providence is calling now as well. They want to know what we're doing with the car for my first person shot. Says it's still there, blocking traffic. All right. So the GSW to the chest, clearly that's the current one that we're on that 324 has for the paper. The other victim was our GSW from earlier from Providence, and then they transported themselves again to UFC. Apparently he walked off and didn't want help. That is that gentleman's car that is left at Providence. He wanted nothing to do with it. He just walked away from us. He wanted no services at all. And then the paper car from that, which is 13, they're going to see if they have maybe a number from somebody who was on scene. They don't know if they do. But other than that, the car was released per the detectives. The car is not blocking because I was able to drive past it.
But after Jeff's death, the Bloodhounds would react on social media, with Vert saying how he'll cry later, while seemingly implying that now was time for revenge. While Lil Scoom would post how Lil Jeff's death didn't even feel real. Q50 meanwhile would make several social media posts in the days following Jeff's death, seemingly saying how Jeff had told him that the gang life wasn't going to do nothing but turn him worse, and that he's done crying and will do what Jeff had told him to do. But whether this meant doing music and getting rich, or continuing sliding on the ops, is unclear. Q50 would also say how he and Jeff had done everything together, from girls to robbing to seemingly killing people, and that he's built for this life and will perform for Jeff, as well as making a truly telling post saying how Jeff had died just how he wanted to, chasing his ops. A few weeks later, it would be time for Jeff's funeral, where the Bloodhounds, Drill City, and their affiliates would seemingly be in full attendance, including people like Vert, Scoom, JB Bin Laden, MTV Cash, and the NLMB rapper Big Op. Soon after, Jeff's posthumous album Stepping in Blood would drop, with guys like G Herbo, who would also feature on the album, posting a tribute to Jeff. The album would also drop through Herbo's good friend and fellow NLMB veteran Lil Bibby's Grade A Productions label, foreshadowing how Q52 would eventually sign with the same label. But meanwhile, the Bloodhounds' biggest ops, Trap City, who had allegedly just killed one of the Bloodhounds' most important members in self-defense, would begin to understand that the limelight was also on them now, and they would begin to engage in the beef much more publicly. Spearheaded by the alleged Lil Jeff killer and the leader of the new Unk Gang movement against the young pill-snorting street demons, I Trap Rob, who despite being much more mature and peace-pushing in his overall message, would also post how he can't wait until all the bloodhounds are dead. One of the alleged Yellow Shorts candidates, Man or Mainsky, would post how they stood on business for his little brother, which is likely a reference to Lil, but also saying how they won't stop until the rest of the bloodhounds are dead. The same message would also appear to be echoed by the young Trap City rapper Tero, who would even release a song with a music video titled Dead Troll, with that title being an obvious reference to Lil Jeff. And in the song, Tero raps how someone thought he was bulletproof but died off the first shot, and that their ops better fall in line because the last guy who tried to slide didn't make it, as well as saying that the dummy died on the hit and calling him Bugs Bunny. Tero would also post a story on his Instagram about how he wants all the bloodhounds gone and how people's favorite rapper is now pending, which would likely be a reference to Q50 in particular, because about a month after Jeff's death, in early July, Q50 would begin his now much more serious solo rap career, dropping the music video for his new song, Make It Far. The song would start with an audio recording of Jeff seemingly dissing Lil, with Q50 repeating the same lines about the Draco making sure his ops didn't make it out the car. The song would open with what would become Q50's most infamous lyric, where he openly claims to have killed 8 people, rapping, "They like, damn 50. Is you really up 8 hats? I would have been up 10, 2 of them ain't check." And the song would be laced wall to wall with violent bars where Q50 would refer to various ops by name, many of those lyrics having been mentioned earlier in this video. The song had a booming yet haunting beat, which was the exact kind of aggressive but laid back style that fans of Jeff and the Bloodhounds were now fiending for. Make It Far would quickly garner hundreds of thousands of views in just days, and today it's passed 1 million views in less than 2 months. This being something that even Lil Jeff wasn't able to do whilst he was alive, showing that Q50 was now the leading rapper from the Bloodhounds, and also showing that Jeff's death and the infamy that followed as people would learn about his story was now pushing the popularity of Q50's music to completely new levels. Q50 was also clearly making more effort on the mic, and the overall production quality had improved greatly from his first songs. However, despite Q50 grabbing the torch from Jeff as the most lit rapper affiliated with the Bloodhounds, unfortunately, only a few days later, the Bloodhounds would experience another enormous loss, this being one of the other most buzzing rappers associated with their block, as their close friend and affiliate Lil Scoom would be gunned down around midnight on the 7th of July, a few hours after seemingly visiting a house on the 700 block of 89th Place, which is located about an 11-minute drive west from Lil Scoom's hood at 89th and Burleigh, the house also being close to the old Burnside stomping grounds of Lil Jeff. A security camera footage of this visit would later get leaked online, showing an annoyed and perhaps somewhat nervous-looking Scoom arriving on the porch of the house together with a male friend and 2 other people, one of these being a woman who attempts to let them in the house without seemingly having the keys. If the time on the camera is correct, this would have been around 9:21 PM. Then, at around 11:50 PM, the police would get an alert of shots fired near the house that Scoom had apparently visited.
We're getting 24 rounds, 655 East 89th Place, multiple shooter, high capacity, and the second shot fired for an additional 7 rounds at the same address, all coming from the side of the building.
Soon after, the police would get notified of a man with gunshot wounds sitting in an Uber about a 0.8-mile drive away from the scene. This person, who would turn out to be the friend of Lil Scoom, would tell the police that there's another person shot at the scene of the shooting. However, this is where events turn somewhat strange, because as the officers would seemingly arrive at the scene of the shooting about 6 minutes after getting the first notifications of shots fired, at least one suspect would seemingly still be at the scene and would begin to shoot in the direction of police before running away.
4264 squad, just confirming, do we have a location where that person was shot?
Is that even tell you that?
Charlie, just watch the 6 5. Just come on! Oh, try for it! Please! 89, please!
10-1-89 in St. Lawrence, shots fired at the police, 89 in St. Lawrence, shots fired
About
at the
700 East Side 89th Place. 700 East 89th Place. 10-1, they're shooting at the police.
10-1, they're shooting at the police. 700 East 89th Place, they're shooting at the police. Need more cars over there. 700 East 89th Place, they're shooting at the police. 10-1.
And anytime police get shot at, there will generally be numerous patrol units arriving at the scene shortly. And this was seemingly no exception, as more police cars would immediately be sent to that location. Unfortunately, soon after this, the police would find Scoom laying on the ground near the possible location of the house seen in that security footage, with several gunshot wounds to his chest.
645, we have another person shot over here.
Alright, what is a good address?
727 East 89th Place.
727 East 89th Place for a person shot. We'll get the ambulance rolling.
We got a male, black. He's unresponsive.
The police would then begin a systematic search of the area to find the suspect or suspects who had just taken off.
630 Adam.
630 Adam.
Well, let's set up a perimeter. Let's have everybody get 3 to 4 blocks north, south, east, and west. Let's do a systematic search.
But then things would keep getting stranger, as the police were then notified that the possible suspect was still on the same street, only about 0.1 miles away from the shooting scene, reloading his gun in front of a building.
And for the units on scene for the 10-1, we got another call for the 10-1 at 619 East 89th Place that a male black with a white do-rag, dark sweatshirt, standing in the doorway of the building, reloading. He shot at the police. So you guys use caution for 619 East 89th Place. Is a male black reloading a gun per citizen wearing a dark sweatshirt
with a white do-rag on his head standing in the doorway, 619 East 89th Place.
Now, one would think that with all the police seemingly now at the scene, surely this suspect would be arrested promptly, but this was not the case, and the police were still not able to capture him, and they would continue combing through the area, where they would soon locate bullet cartridges at the shooting scene, with at least some of these being rifle rounds, likely indicating that this had been an orchestrated attack, and not, for example, a sudden argument leading to a shooting.
Charlie, we got a few rounds in the intersection of 89th and Langley, and there's also rifle rounds in front of 652 East 89th Place, just for officer safety.
The police would also find out that Scoom and his friend had been able to get in an Uber before the shooting began, with the friend seemingly being able to escape in the Uber, while Scoom would unfortunately not be as lucky, as he would later pass away at the University of Chicago Medical Center, the same hospital where Jeff had been taken.
Hey squad, these two people that were shot are in relation from the same area where the shots at the police were. They were picked up by Uber at 701 East 89th Street, so be careful in that area as well.
Meanwhile, more calls would keep coming in. There now also being sightings of multiple suspects who had been wearing ski masks right next to the house that Scoom and his friend had seemingly visited, as well as sightings of two of the suspects chasing someone on the street.
Alright, the description that we got for that 619 East 89th Place was a male black with a white do-rag, dark sweatshirt, standing in the doorway of the building. And then we got a second call, 701 East 89th Place, for three males outside with black Durango, near a black Durango, wearing ski masks, one hand on a gray shirt.
What time did that call with the Durango and the three guys come out?
We got that one at 2352 for the Durango and the three guys, and then we got another call for East 7 and Cottage that just came out at 3 minutes after midnight. This one said that there was two guys with one gun. They were chasing someone. A male black wearing all white had the gun. The other male black had on a tracksuit. They ran towards Cottage, 731 East 89th Place. The offenders were standing there. One with the gun was wearing all white.
10-4 was most likely the one that shot direction of the police.
Alright, so the male in the black tracksuit and the one male wearing all white were most likely offenders that were shooting at the police. They were last seen at 731 East 89th Place per a citizen that called this in.
Some time would pass, and the police would then get information from a witness that a car was circling the area, with someone yelling from the car, possibly looking for the suspects in order to pick them up. The location of this sighting once again being only around 0.1 miles away from where Scoom had been found, and the behavior of the driver perhaps indicating that this may have only happened after the suspects had shot at the police and ran away from the scene.
Yeah, we were walking around the alley. We heard somebody scream, came out. Witnesses told me that at the 700 block of 90th Street, black car just came, screamed, and then continued driving. So possibly looking for our offenders, trying to pick them up or something, so keep an eye out.
Alright, 10-4. Alright, for the units I'm seeing over there, X-ray 642 per citizen was walking around the alley near the 700 block of 90th Street. There's a black sedan that's circling the area, screaming out, I guess possibly looking for the offenders to try and pick them up, guys, so use caution.
But even with all of this information, no suspects would be captured, and the case seemingly remains open. However, in online rumors, certain people have been connected to the case, particularly a girl called Nini, who some claim to be the fourth person in the porch video who can be seen looking at their phone behind the others. Soon after Scoom's death, screenshots would begin to be posted on sites like Reddit, seemingly showing the girl whose house Scoom had been in, exposing Nini for setting Scoom up, saying how Scoom had come to her to get his hair done, seemingly accompanied by his friend and that girl Nini, who had then allegedly behaved weirdly, sneaking off into the bathroom to allegedly text Scoom's killers. Screenshots would also be posted allegedly showing how Nini was scared for her life now and planning to leave Chicago, and not long after, there would be an update of Nini allegedly posting herself on an aeroplane with the caption, "New Life." However, not everyone on Reddit was buying this theory, and some would argue that Nini was only being used as a scapegoat to distract from the real perpetrators. Other rumors about the murder seem to place the blame particularly on a set called Risky Road, who were located around 104th and Maryland in the North Pullman neighborhood and the far south side area. This is in fact the hood where incarcerated rapper Rondo No. 9 is originally from, and it appears that Risky Road and the Bloodhounds have been having some kind of beef even before Jeff's murder, as one of their most popular rappers called Risky Bands would post some stories in early June dissing Q50 by claiming that he had gotten the Bloodhound member Hothead beaten up in prison. There would also be some rumors that Scoom or the Bloodhounds may have had something to do with one of Risky Road's members getting killed, Scoom's murder then allegedly being a getback for this. Then, already the following day after Scoom's murder, Risky Bands would make a cryptic post that some Redditors would read as him claiming Scoom's murder. Soon, more rumors would come out pointing the finger at Risky Road, but to be clear, for now there is seemingly no credible evidence against Nini, Risky Road, or anyone else for that matter. As Q50 would find out about Scoom's passing the next day, he would simply post WTF on his Instagram story along with a picture of the two together, likely reflecting just how dumbfounded he was to find out he had now lost two of his best friends in just 1 month's time. About a week later, Q50 would drop a music video for the song 333 that also featured posthumous verses from Lil Jeff and Scoom, with the whole song and video recorded before their deaths. 333 would end up getting Q50 his first million views in less than 1 month, and despite all the losses he was facing, Q50 wasn't slowing down, dropping the music video for the song Splash Bros just 2 weeks later, this one now being over 1 million views too. Splash Bros started with another tribute to Jeff, with Q50 saying "Long live King Draco" and saying rather menacingly "Long live my brother, he probably killed your brother." And the track had back-to-back violent bars all about specific crimes, which we've already discussed earlier in this video. Now, Splash Bros is one of my favorite Q50 songs and has a surprisingly upbeat melody and beat which comes in stark contrast to Q50's violent lyrics, making for a uniquely bipolar listening experience that gets you in a mellow mood until you tune in and listen to the violent disrespect that is actually appearing in the lyrics. Q50 was now one of the hottest artists coming out of Chicago, but unfortunately there appeared to be some internal friction within the Bloodhounds, as the fans would soon notice that Q50 had seemingly stopped following Vert on Instagram. Vert would also make a post saying that he doesn't have a manager, which would make some people seemingly think that he had been dropped by the same management that was now handling Q50's career. Soon, Reddit would be filled with different theories as to why the two begun beefing. Some were claiming that Vert was being too close with his old friends from Trap City, as there would even be an alleged phone conversation between Vert and Jeff that would be leaked, where Vert would appear to say that he missed his friends from Trap City, which Jeff would surprisingly agree with, before Vert even seemingly saying that they were now even with Trap City, which seems to point to the murders of Z Money and the revenge killing of Lil.
What we gonna do? We down there, we gonna, you know, we got that low on. Ooh, fool, you know? TK nigga, the real one. So look, Mike, we do. Man, look, I'm not gonna get at you nobody. Look, that's us. But look, I was just talking to my peoples. But look though, like I ain't gonna lie, I missed the hood for we not finna be killing each other, none of that, folks. I told you, he sent me that DM. He posted me on my talking about what is still love, you still good. Yeah. You know, still good. It is what it is though, cause they got me much still. Like that, if you really think about it, on what though, that's even.
Others, on the other hand, would resort to trolling, with a rather random meme about Vert smelling bad taking off on Reddit and social media like wildfire, as people would begin to make funny posts about other Bloodhounds supposedly reacting to Vert's funky odor during interviews and music videos. However, Q50 would eventually comment on their relationship during an Instagram live, saying that Vert is his brother and they'll never fall out, but he'd just been mad at him about something for a moment.
Hey, look for all that verse, my brother gang. Stop all that, I'm not into it, my brother, man. What's wrong with y'all, folks? My dead homie. That is my brother gang. He'll never fall out over shit. I just was mad at folks for a little bit, that's all.
It seems that the two are back on good terms now, and Q50 is back following him on Instagram. Meanwhile, in late July, Q50 would be arrested, sending the Reddit and social media into a frenzy, as people thought that he was finally getting caught up for all the murders he was claiming in his songs and on social media. Things would be particularly confusing, as people would take his seemingly earlier 2023 charges from CPD's website, but apply them to the latest arrest, even though the Cook County Sheriff's website that lists his recent arrest doesn't include any details about his charges. People would also get confused by the fact that he had no bond, thinking that this was a sign of how serious his charges were, without realizing that Illinois had in fact ended the cash bail system already in September 2023, this in fact happening even before Q50's first arrest later that same month. Even Q50's ops were rejoicing, with one Trap City member posting, "Let's see if you can fight," together with Q50's mugshot, while a 9-5 mob member would post how he's going to do something dumb just so he can get into the county jail to fight with Q50. But then, strangely, only a few days after his arrest, Q50 would be back in the streets like nothing had happened, and only about a week later, he would drop another song with a music video, aptly titled First Day Out. The music video beginning with pictures of social media posts about his arrest before showing him walking out of the Cook County Jail. Q50 would then begin his verse using his now trademark catchphrase, "They like damn 50, whilst commenting on some of the wildest rumors that he had been arrested for a murder, saying his ops wished he was in jail for longer because they hate to see him free. He would then continue his other new trademark style by dropping names of numerous ops that the Bloodhounds had allegedly done something to, such as a Trap City member called T3, who Q50 would claim had gotten hit with a switch, another Trap City member called VI, who he would claim had gotten his kit or jewelry taken from him, and then of course a reference to murdered Trap City member Lil, as well as throwing a bonus diss towards the recently killed member of the 800 set called TJ, who had been beefing with the Bloodhounds before his death. Q50 would also seemingly diss TMC Slide and a rapper called Trey Trey, or FBG Trey Trey, but this FBG isn't standing for FBG Duck's Flyboy Gang, but actually the Free Band Gang, as Trey Trey was also signed to none other than Atlanta Auto-Tune legend Future, before he and his friends would get into a deadly shootout on a freeway that would end in a crash, causing Trey Trey to lose his life in August 2023. Trey Trey was allegedly affiliated with a set called 10 Gang, also known as JMG or FBE, who are affiliated with some of the Bloodhounds' biggest ops, such as 8 Trey Mob, Evans Mob, and 9-5 Mob. Q50 would also aim his disses towards Lil Scoom's alleged killers, as he would rap how it's long live Scoom and how he's going to kill a girl, this being a rather obvious diss towards that girl Nene, who had allegedly backdoored Scoom. This would also be around the time when many of Q50's old and new songs would begin leaking, one of these being a song titled Grade O, where Q50 would now aim his disses towards the Risky Road set, who had allegedly been the gunman behind Scoom's murder, rapping how he's driving through the hundreds trying to shoot a Risky Road member, the hundreds being an area in Chicago's South Side named after the street numbers that are literally in the hundreds, such as the 104th and Maryland that the Risky Road set claim. The music video for the First Day Out song would once again gather hundreds of thousands of views, and it seems that Q50 is now well on his way to becoming the next big thing out of Chicago. But with the amount of dissing that he's doing and the enemies that he's making, it truly seems that him staying in Chicago can only end one of two ways. Bloodhound Lil Jeff left a menacing legacy in drill music in an incredibly short space of time. His brash claims of 11 bodies, which were seeded in his genuinely good rap songs, will likely fuel all kinds of theories and comparisons for years to come. But it's the way that Jeff lost his life that truly solidified his disturbing legacy, dying on camera trying to kill someone in their own home, just like he'd rapped about for the whole world to see. Lil Jeff truly lived what he rapped, and ultimately his story ended in a way that was entirely predictable in hindsight. But the case of Q50, on the other hand, is much more perplexing. The fact he's running around Chicago regularly releasing music which claims openly that he's killed 8 people is wild. Even more crazy, the fact that he was arrested briefly at the height of his attention following Lil Jeff's death and then swiftly released is even more confusing. Ultimately, Q50 is living a modern day outlaw story in 2024, and while as a fan of his music, I certainly hope that he can continue using his talent to make art about his life that gives an insight into a unique lifestyle on the fringes of society, but I'm saddened by the fact that we all know that the street life can only end one of two ways, especially when you've got 8 bodies. And while it's easy now, after being completely desensitized to the outrageously high body counts of people like Lil Jeff, compared to 11, 8 murders somehow seems tame. And I'm not glorifying it or belittling the value of those 8 people that lost their lives, but it really goes to show you just how far the senseless devaluation of human lives has gotten in Chicago. Once was a time when King Von was the pinnacle of killer rapper, with his open claims of 7 bodies lighting the entire rap game on fire with theories about whether or not he really did it. But nowadays, the idea of Q50 having 8 bodies is not just believable, but not even that shocking. As I said, the street life can only end one of two ways when you're this deep in the violence, but it's very possible that in Q50's case, he may end up proving to be the counterpart to Lil Jeff's story, because if the notoriously lax Chicago police can catch up with him before his ops do, he very well may end up spending the rest of his days behind bars and bearing the consequences of this lifestyle that Lil Jeff narrowly avoided.